Okay. All right. Calling to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for the town of Ashford for September 8th, 2025. It is 7:03. Um, First order of business, I just want to thank Kayla for sitting in for us and possibly for the future of being our recording secretary. Um, Speak clearly, give her your name. She doesn't know all of us. So, again, thank you very much, Kayla, for stepping up. All right, calling the meeting to order. Seating of alternates. The only alternate, I don't see Doug here, so the only alternate I see is Alex. Alex, we're going to seat you for Luther. So that's Alex Castillo being seated for Luther Brock. Okay. Second item, approval of minutes from our August 11th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve those minutes. Nord
Thank you,
Yakovlев.
Nord. Is there a second?
This is Janet. I'll second.
Janet seconds. Any discussion? Changes, edits, improvements? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes from August 11th, 2025 for the Planning and Zoning Commission, signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain, Alex.
Alex. And Tom, I think you might need to abstain also.
I do. I do. I'm trying to unmute myself here.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Why don't you say it instead of me?
Oh, yeah. I abstain. Tom Hastings.
Okay, thank you. All right, motion passes. Okay, item 3, public comment, limited to topics or items not otherwise listed on the agenda, such as hearing. Any public comment? Seeing no electronic hands and no one waving at me, we will move on. Thank you. Bills, I see a bill from the Chronicle for $131.52, paid and taken care of. Yes, Mike?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Mike, do you have the CROG letters handy?
Yeah, I can pull them up.
Thank you. Okay, so correspondence. We did receive the CROG Regional Planning Commission comment letters. Just to go over the basics on those for what was received by the Planning and Zoning.
You want me to run through them, or do you want me to just bring them up, or?
Just bring them up and we'll hit the highlights.
Okay.
Okay, first one from the Hartford Planning and Zoning Commission, proposed text amendment regarding mechanical. I've never seen that word. Can you explain that word to me, Mike? Is that a zoning word?
Yeah, that's mechanical appurtenances. So Hartford's regs are form-based, so they regulate everything solely pretty much based on how it looks and its form.
Okay.
So this is pertaining to mechanical units that may be affixed to the side of a building or the front of a building. Yeah, they refer to them as appurtenances.
I've learned something new. Thank you, Mike. Word of the day. Okay, next one, Mansfield Planning and Zoning regarding proposed text amendment regarding a site plan requirements and procedures. Again, their public hearing has come and gone on that. The next one. Again, Mansfield Planning and Zoning, proposed text amendment regarding special permit requirements. That public hearing was held on the 2nd also. Mansfield Planning and Zoning, proposed text amendments regarding water pipeline growth limitation overlay zone. Again, discussed at their September 2nd meeting. Mansfield Planning and Zoning Commission, proposed text amendment regarding performance standards. Canton Planning and Zoning Commission, proposed text amendment regarding the Apple Village Design District. That was quite a while ago, August 20th. And the Vernon Planning and Zoning Commission, proposed text amendment regarding architectural and design review. Also August 8th, 26, 2025. All this material is located in our meeting material as Mike has posted for us. Wellington Planning and Zoning Commission, proposed text amendment regarding multifamily dwellings. And that hearing was scheduled for 8/19. The Granby Planning and Zoning Commission, proposed zoning amendment regarding 518 Salmon Brook Drive, whichever that is for them.
That's it.
And that's it. So again, those
Um,
are all posted for meeting for people to, if they wish to find out more or go into their hearing information, you can find it there.
Jeff, I just want to note that Doug just joined us.
Oh, he did. Okay. Mr. Jenny.
Well, he's in the process of joining us, shall we say. He's coming out of
In
the
the
waiting room.
process. Oh, okay. There he is. Mr. Jenny. Connecting to audio. Slow technical difficulties here, folks. Hang on. Is he with us yet?
Not that I can see, still connecting.
Okay, I see a check now.
There he is.
Hello, Doug. You with us? Okay, until Doug lets me know he's here, then we'll seat him once that comes about. Hello, Doug.
I'm here. Sorry. My phone was connected. I could hear you, but my Zoom was waiting impatiently to figure things out.
Not a problem. Doug, we are going to be seating you for Jerry.
Okay.
Jerry
Sounds good.
Dufresne. Okay, so Doug Jenny for Jerry Dufresne. Thank you. All right, and we are at the section of our public hearing. This is PZ-25-3, special permit application per section 300-18C for motor vehicle sales and service at 221 Pompey Hollow Road. Applicant O. Karuka, and this is a continuation from the 8/11. So this is a continuation of the hearing from Originally started on 8/11/25. Um, uh, and I think I saw Goose. And is Hassan on also with you tonight?
Yes, we're
Yes.
both on.
Okay, excellent. I'm just trying to look through the field of people here. So, um, excellent. Thank you very much, folks. So, did you want to have and again, as the hearing will go, we're going to start it somewhat again. We're going to have an opening statement from the applicant based on some of the information we talked about the last time. There'll be opportunity for the commissioners to have questions of the applicants and what it is they're doing. Then we will also open it up to further public comment for anyone who wishes to share public comment regarding the hearing. And I ask that your comments be addressed not to the applicant, but to the board and specifically the chair at that point. And then we will go back to the applicant for any final comments regarding, ideally, potentially final comments for tonight. So we'll start with either Hassan or Aguz, if you wish to talk about what's gone on since our last meeting.
Yeah, I'll start. This is Oz from 221 Pompey Hollow Road. On our last meeting, the main concern was the water from the rain and stuff, and clearance from the health department. We have the approval from the health department today. I believe Mike has it. Bonnie's sent me a copy of it as well. As far as the rainwater, I sent Mike a new proposed trench drain plan today earlier. Maybe you could share it with you guys. I don't know if I have ability to share on my end. Those were the two concerns, I believe, from the last meeting.
I can share that if you want, Jeff, if you want it up on the screen.
If they want to see
Yes,
it,
please.
you're more than welcome
Yes,
to.
please. While Mike's bringing that up, I do have a little bit of concern. Thank you for providing the information that was asked for. But one of my concerns is, and obviously one of them is very easy to look at, the Eastern Highlands approval. But getting it just a few hours before our meeting generally makes it difficult for us to review and act on, especially with the fact that we are a volunteer board and many of our board members continue to work. So, it's kind of difficult. It kind of crawls under my skin that it comes up so late like that. But be that as it is, we did receive it and we're able to put it up here and share. If you want to just go through what's here, and if Mike, if you have any comment on this, I'd be open to that since we haven't had a chance to have engineers take a look at it.
Yeah, I can give you just some background. I met with Hassan last week and we went through the items that were outstanding from the commission based on the last meeting. And so some of the things that have been posted on the meeting materials were the inspection results from when the tanks were pulled on the property, showing essentially that there was no, findings of any leaks or anything. And it would basically the property long before the applicant acquired it was given a clean bill of health from the perspective of any contamination. They also provided a rendering of the property, the building facade, basically how they intend to treat it with the colors. And based on the last discussion, I posted the inspection report they provided to me from their septic contractor and the approval memo that we got today from Lynette. Lynette was on vacation. She just came back and sent it this afternoon. As far as the document that's in front of you, recognizing that we're in a bit of a unique situation here because we have this property that's been sort of in its current state for many, many years. And though they're establishing a new business, they're not establishing a new facility. They're limited in what they can do and what we can ask them to do. So what you see here is something that I have seen done and have sort of seen implemented in other towns in similar circumstances and in auto-related use type scenarios. And essentially it creates a drain, a filter drain or a filter trench at the edge of the parking lot to sort of capture water as it comes off the property. The topography is obviously existing, so they're limited in what they can do. And if there's any particulates, from sand or whatever, dirt, it would go into this trench drain, which is likely to have stone and this pipe, and that all filters out. And then they have the ability to set the drain with the pipe with a little bit of a pitch, so that they can move the water towards the back of the property and not discharge towards the road. So given the current status of the property, the existing parking lot, and kind of where things were, I recommended they explore this with their site contractor to see if it was feasible, because I've seen it work, and I think it's a good middle ground.
Okay. And who was the site contractor on this?
Kirkhoff Paving.
Krukov, okay.
Yeah, it's a locally owned in the town.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. All right, rainwater style. And I did see the tanks. I know the question came up, the tanks were pulled and the testing was done back in 2006. So that was quite a while ago, 20 years ago when the tanks were pulled out, 20 years or more. So, is there any other comments that you wish to make? One of the things I thought we talked about had to do with traffic, and I didn't go back through the recording, but I thought we had asked about some type of a traffic study or anything. Was that on the docket?
It
We
was
didn't.
recommended, but it wasn't mandatory, I believe. Someone mentioned it that, they could help with the traffic, but we didn't do any traffic study.
Okay. Because I know one of the statements that was made was something to the effect of you folks would have no more traffic coming out of your site than the business that was originally there, I think, when it came
Yeah.
to, yeah. The problem
No,
isn't so much the problem isn't so much traffic coming in and out from your business as it is in relation to what's gone on. I mean, we're talking traffic flows from 40 or 50 years ago, as opposed to what's going through there now, along with the fact you have the Dollar General in there, an active retail group, along with the restaurant and package store that are there. And across the street, obviously, the Extra Mart. I actually don't know what was there. Our resident historian, Jerry, isn't here today to let us know what was on that corner previously. But yes, okay. So uh, there is no traffic study. Okay. And again, if I interrupted, I'm sorry. You folks, did you have any other comments or anything you wish to make?
Not me, maybe Hassan?
Not neither.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Being as that, I open it up to the other commissioners for any questions they have or clarifications required of the applicant. Oh,
One
sorry,
more thing.
Hassan. Right, go ahead,
Uh,
Hassan.
we gave Mike mock-ups. What this looks like now, and what it's gonna look like when it's done. Did you guys see them? It's gonna look pretty good.
The renderings were posted. I I'll let some of the other commissioners be able to fill in or talk about what they have or what their reactions are, or questions or clarifications they're looking for. So any of the commissioners wish to have any input here? See, I
Yeah.
see your hand, Janet. Go right ahead. Ms.
Hi, it's
Bellamy.
Janet Bellamy. The septic company, when they did the inspection, had several recommendations for you. Did you follow through and
Yes.
complete those?
Yes,
Yes,
because
Janet,
I spoke to Mike, and Mike said that there's some water in there which needs to be in there, and when we start using it, they're going to monitor it and then pump it out, because there has to be some water in the septic tank itself, and one of the pipes that he wants to redo it.
so, I'm sorry, the clogged pipe has been,
He
you said
already fixed that.
it was missing a clean out and
He installed it.
you
It's in the
installed that.
receipt.
Janet,
Yeah, it's in the receipts.
Janet, there was 3 receipts also provided with the original recommendations. All the recommendations were completed by the same company. There should be 4 pages in total, 3
Correct.
invoices and a recommendation page.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see those other pages.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I only posted the report. I didn't post the receipt documents because they were
Oh, okay.
about costs and payments, and so I just didn't want to post them online, but they did provide to our office in the file proof that they actually paid for those services to have the work done.
Oh, okay, thank you.
The
I also
repairs are done.
I have a question about the trench. I know, I live near Ashford Lake, and we've had to put in some drainage trenches, and they're designed so that it slows the water down, and the particulates fall out before the water gets in the lake, so it's clean. And I'm just wondering, like, what's your trench look like, and how is it? How is it managing the water if there's, say, a very heavy, we sometimes have very heavy rainfalls.
Um, I was there this morning with Steve from Kirkhoff Paving. So he measured the area. He measured the width, the height, all the lengths and the pitches. And he suggested that we got to do a 2 feet wide and 2 feet deep and 80 foot long a trench with the special stones that will filter the water and catch the water going on the other side. He measured the whole space, and he requires he assumed the 2 feet by 2 feet wide and 2 feet deep of a trench.
And the trench will have a stone in it.
Correct. It will have a special stone that will filter the water through it.
And what's at the end of the trench? Is it, so it's going to the back of your property where there's the steep drop off? Oh,
No, it's a tilted way that he said he will design it and he will let it to the daylight, which he said he's done it many times, that this will be the solution for it. I'm not the experts on it, so I call the experts to get the things needs to be done that way. He said he done other ones in the town a similar way.
okay. I don't understand. I guess I don't understand what that means.
Well, I'm not a trench guy. I'm automotive guy,
Mhm.
and same thing. My buddy is not. He's the same way, and we call the person who's going to do the job. What will be a good way to catch those drainage issues that you suggested on the last meeting, and this is what he suggests that we should do. He measured the area. The property is not all the way tilted. If you drove by there, on the
Mhm.
left side of the property where the restaurant, it's already tilting to the back of the way, which is not no rain going towards the city, state road or down the hill. Only on the one side is the portion is sloped, and that section will be catching the water.
And then I still don't understand. So there, if you get a lot of water, I don't know, maybe Mike can explain it too.
It goes back into the ground. Those stone filters,
Mhm.
the water washes through, goes back into the dirt under the ground.
Okay, so it's slowing it down enough that it'll percolate into the ground.
Yes, that's what he said about what. That's why he measured, and he said it will need a 2 feet wide and 2 feet deep trench to catch the water to go back into the ground again.
Okay, thank you.
You what?
Thank you, Janet. Nord,
Okay, First of all, I want to welcome you to Ashford.
Thank you.
We're happy to see an approved enterprise starting here in town. And I just wanted to explain to you that why we're so strict about water runoff is that Ashford is 100% part of the water supply for the reservoir in Willimantic. And the people at Willimantic are going to wind up drinking this water. So we're very careful about everything that happens with water in this town. That's why we're so strict. But anyway, welcome to Ashford. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Norm.
Thank you, Nord.
Jeff, can I just
Um,
follow up to maybe answer one of Jim's
Absolutely,
questions?
Mike. Yes.
So the trench will essentially provide, if you do the math, about 320 cubic feet of storage of water. And so what Hassan is saying is that when Steve Krukoff measured the portion of the site that will actually convey water to that side of the property, the amount of water that will come off that site, because parts of it already pitch back, require that he provide that 300 cubic feet of storage volume. So that trench, the 2 by 2 by 80, will provide, I mean, the stone will slow the water down, will allow for that settling, but it'll also, based on where the bottom is, convey that water towards the back of the property. When they say daylight, it just means that it's not being conveyed into anything. It's not being put into a storm sewer or a pond or anything. It's being conveyed to grade. When anytime you're dealing with water, whether we're talking about a trench, we're talking about a pipe, a sump pump, a foundation drain, we require, all stormwater manuals, all design manuals require that the water essentially be sheet flow when it's released to daylight or towards any property line, because it needs to be moving across the property naturally as it would once the rain, when it falls as rain. If we channelize water and then we release it in a channelized way near a property line, that's when the downhill property has the potential to start seeing erosion and other things, because you've really concentrated the flow. So Krukoff needs to capture the water, slow it down, and provide some storage, but still allow for it to leave sort of slowly, so that the overall hydrology of the site doesn't change from the from the perspective of the adjacent property owners. I don't know if that's more or less confusing, but I tried.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Mike.
Mike. Doug Jenny. Yes, sir.
Hi, Jeff. On the topic of the water, I wasn't in last month's meeting, but I've been reading the application and catching up on my own. I guess I have two concerns. One is where I don't see on the site plan or in the paperwork, maybe I missed it, of where any I'll call it hazardous waste, for lack of a better term, oil, coolant, used lead acid batteries, etc., will be stored. And how are we addressing that relative to runoff onto the property?
No.
And then this runoff conversation, what type of magnitude of a storm are we talking about that this new proposed trench can handle? The basis of my comments stemmed from the fact that whether it was before my time in town, but whether it's the current gas station in that intersection or the one that was in this facility prior, very, very long time ago, contaminated the water, and the majority of the homes in this general part of the town are no longer on well water and using a local source. The water's all contaminated and it's costing the homeowners money, and I'm concerned about it getting worse over time.
Jeff, do you want us to answer that? I don't know if you said you don't want to do back and forth, but
Ben answer yapayım.
No, the commissioners and you can't have a back and forth on this because we're
oh,
asking
okay.
questions of Doug's one of our
Okay, I'll
commissioners.
answer that. Hassan, go
So,
ahead.
okay. So the coolant, such as coolant, oil, and everything, it'll be stored inside. We have a utility room where it is shows on that plan that where it'll be stored, and state regulates that. And there's a company comes and pumps it out every when it's three-quarter full, we let them know, and they come in the next day or two and then pumps it out. We also have another shop in Bloomfield. This is what we do for a living, and the company comes and just pumps them out.
Doug, the oil and all the coolant and stuff, they come in small jugs, and then there's a shelf and a catch base on the bottom. The company comes and sets up a shelf with a catch base on the bottom just in case any of the bottles or anything leaks.
It,
So, you know, there shouldn't be any oil or anything on outside of the building, on the soil, or anywhere on the floors as well.
Okay, thank you. So there's a self-contained apparatus that you intend to use that's stored inside the facility, and then you have a service that comes and will empty it upon them reaching near capacity based on your
Yep.
operational usage.
Yes, correct. And
Thank
state
you.
also regulates these stuff, so they come and inspect it before they give licenses out and stuff. So, they take, they're pretty on top of stuff that would contaminate anything.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your diligence in this. So then I guess the second part of my question is back to the stormwater runoff. I'm not a wastewater management person by trade. I'm more of a structural engineer. So I don't really know the regulations, but I'm just curious to know what the sizing of this trench is in terms of the type of storm, 10-year storm, 50-year storm, et cetera. Because as it was discussed earlier, it's a function of the amount of volume of water it can contain and then slowly absorb into the property to avoid a direct runoff eroding downhill soil.
Yep. Truthfully, we don't know much about these stuff either. That's why we took a recommendation from Kirchhoff, and we're just, giving you guys, we're the middleman, I guess, in this trench stuff with Kirchhoff and you guys. They're the ones that did all the calculations and gave us the measurements and what the plan should be. We're just going based off of what they recommended. As far as 10 years or 50 years, I'm not 100% sure, honestly. I can make a quick phone call tomorrow morning to give you guys that update, but I don't want to push this back another month.
I'm sorry, I got disconnected for a second. I missed a little bit of it.
Oh, his question was the trench, the material, is it 10-year, 50-year? Do you know anything about that?
I'm not sure. It's a stone, so I don't know if there's a life expectancy in a stone or if it's a lifetime.
I don't think they're speaking about so much the life expectancy. I think they're thinking about the volume. Those terms are you really used to describe the volume of water that potentially could move through there. Again,
It's a very tight property.
We're storming
It's
50 years, we're storming 100 years, that type of thing.
there is not a guarantee that anything, either, we can be alive tomorrow or not. I can't talk off behalf of that, and then you have a life of that thing. But I'm assuming, the jobs they do, they give 1 year warranty, but that's again, it's just for, what they're doing.
Mike, excuse me 1 minute, Mark. With the calculations that you provided, based on the volume of movement, is that something maybe the NECOG engineer could estimate when it comes to, 10, 25, 50 year, 100 year?
Um, it's, I mean, they may be able to, the challenge is parts of the property already pitch towards the rear. So the whole site
Right.
isn't generating the run, isn't going to convey runoff to that trench. And so what the other limitation is that, the current site, even though it's in really bad shape, the bituminous is almost property line to property line. So they're limited in the space that they have to do much. So the only thing that I guess I want to point out to the commission, and just as a reminder, is that this site is existing and was paved. So I was trying to work with them to come up with a solution that will improve the drainage on the property without requiring that they re-engineer the site as if they were building it from scratch, because there's no question that the drainage requirements would come into play if they were developing this new, but they're essentially seeking to come in and use the site. They have to do some paving because when the tanks were pulled, the previous owners were kind enough to just leave it as dirt and not repave it. But the other thing that I think is worth reiterating that was discussed at the last meeting, which was kind of part of what factored into our discussion, is that they have not asked, nor do I think the commission is interested in, having motor vehicle hulks and junk or dismantled components on the property. These will be vehicles that are going to be offered for sale. So, there really should not be leaking fluids and all kinds of other things on site, because these vehicles should be roadworthy. I know this has come up in other towns with things like when they get towed, and if there are things happening as far as them being worked on. In often cases, they are transported in part dry, right? If there's they're not coming with all kinds of fluids in them, and needing to be worked on. If there's any type of repair that needs to be made, that vehicle is going to come to the site free of fluids, so there's nothing to leak. So I know that's a bit of a tangent, but I want to make sure that we're all sort of on the same page as far as the existing status of the property.
Well, okay, that brings up an interesting point from something I had asked about before. If these vehicles, and again, I don't know if this is your assumption, Mike, or if your discussion with Guz and Hassan, but if they're coming as dry vehicles, that means they're not being driven over from Southington or East Windsor auction lot or anything like that. They're being transported. And if they're being transported on some type of trailer. And that was a question that I had, that a large trailer being used at that corner is going to block traffic.
So,
So
I think,
what's the story?
well,
Are they coming with fluids or without fluids?
no. I think Mike meant to say that any broken car coming in will have the, coolant or whichever or leak already leaked off it. It's
Vehicles are transported with fluids. This is Mark Schnubel. I mean, I've been in the automotive industry for 50 years. When they get sold at the auction, the vehicles have gas, have oil, have antifreeze,
yes.
can be driven off of the lot. They are not dry vehicles.
So, guys, I know we discussed this on the last meeting too, but I don't know if there's anyone new on here. This is not our first time opening a dealership. This is going to be our third location. We have 100+ cars in Bloomfield, Connecticut. If anyone wants to stop by, we don't just buy, we buy 99% of our cars from Southern Auto Auction in East Windsor. We go there all day on Tuesday, test drive the cars, and we buy, as many as we could. And we don't just buy junk to work on them for the next, 2 weeks. We buy cars that are running in good condition, no check engine lights. We don't we don't make the money on mechanic side of it. We buy and sell. All we do is, if anything, tires, oil change, basic maintenance on the cars that we purchase, because we test drive them ahead of time. We don't just blindly purchase cars. Mark, I don't know, you say you've been in the industry. If you know how Southern works, you could go test drive any car you want on Tuesday. That's what we do. We have 3 guys out there on Tuesday, all day, starting at 10 a.m., sometimes 12, depending on what their hours are. We test drive them all day long. So we don't just blindly purchase cars. So the cars that will be coming on from East Windsor, 80% will be driven over. We might get a couple cars from ACV, a couple other online auctions that might be transferred or transported over. And for those, we use a couple of the local companies. We buy from 300-mile radius. It could be from New York or, Maine, whatever, 300-mile radius. They come in a 3-car trailers, not the big 18-wheelers. And we use the local company for that too.
So there will be some trailered in. is what
Correct,
you're
yes. Yeah, we discussed this last time too, yeah.
saying. We discussed this last time. I was told none would be trailered in, they'd be driven over. That's what was said.
We said
Oh, we-
90% will be
No,
true.
I made a comment
There was
about
no
that.
percentage. It was 100% that was said. If we have to go back to tape, we'll go back to tape, all right?
We could, because I
But
made
I'm
that
just
comment.
saying
but
that
okay.
my concern is bringing that trailer into that corner. If you feel you have room to do that when you've got 35, potentially whatever number of car for sales, plus staff, plus the people coming in to buy and things like that, if you have room for that. Because there's not much we can do after the fact if you guys are blocking that intersection with those trailers coming in. Okay, and I know
don't
it's
think-
not a big, I know it's not a big dozen trailer thing coming in. It's only 3, but it still needs room to maneuver in there without causing problems for either your abutting businesses or the traffic at that intersection.
Most
That's our concern.
most of the time,
Go
what I
ahead, I'm
see,
sorry.
even on the franchise dealers, you probably seen them on the road too, that they pull on the shoulders to get them out most of the time. Even at the franchise dealers that has thousands of spaces, those even 18-wheelers comes, they never pull into the driveways. They always do them on the shoulder. And
Mark has comment about that too. He has his hand up.
Jeff, this is Mark Schnubel. Is this supposed to be a question and answer period between the commissioners and the applicants?
Yeah, we can ask questions of the applicants.
Okay, it just seems to be, they should have their say at the end, so all the commissioners and public can speak.
Either way is fine, whatever you guys like. I just don't want to miss anything at the end, but that's cool too if you guys want to do it that way.
That's fine. I just wanted to be clear. That's all. Mark, you had your hand up.
I did, yeah. I agree with the trailering. I think that's gonna be problematic. From what I see for the site plan and parking of vehicles on the lots, there's not gonna be room for a 3-car trailer to pull in. I also have concerns about the ability of firefighting apparatus to be able to pull into the lot. EVs are part of our fleet in our society today. I suspect that there will probably be EVs for sale on your lot.
haven't sold any yet.
And, it's a concern with the lithium ion batteries. If there is a fire, because I believe Christina Abu sent in a public comment in writing that she had concern about that as well. I also, mentioned at the last meeting that I had, major concerns about the physical, the looks of the structure itself. Originally, the structure had an exterior covering, with the 1950, 1960s gas station look. The current owner removed all of that, exposing, the raw cinder block construction, which was never intended to be the exposed surface of the building. And now it seems like that's going to be the finished surface of the building, just applying black paint. Which I think possibly could be a violation of Article 5C, Section 2. When required, a special permit must be issued by commissioners before any person may establish or change any land use or alter any building or structure. In Article 4C, Section 7, design guidelines says major exterior alterations, should relate to neighboring buildings, natural features, and rural character of Ashford. materials and colors should have a complementary design relationship to the other buildings and the landscape. I also submitted photos of surrounding commercial structures and what they look like. Also a current photo of the proposed site. And I believe the applicant, submitted a rendering where the building was painted black. As well, our current POCD, which was the 2015 Town of Ashford Plan of Conservation and Development, which is in effect until we submit the 2026 POCD. On page 29, Warrenville West Ashford Special Permit Planning Area, which encompasses the 74-44 intersection down to 89-44 intersection. It says the vision for Warren West Ashford Special Planning Area. The vision for this SPA is to enhance its physical image, expand its commercial activities, and provide a focal point for civic activities and culture and municipal services. This special planning area is the public face of Ashford as a result of the 3 state highways that intersect the area. And then at the end of that paragraph, it says, try to evoke the look and feel of traditional New England small town. Second paragraph, the majority of the town's commercial development will be in West Ashford. Last sentence of second paragraph, the concept of a New England small town. I don't believe that the renderings that I saw of a cinder block wall, which was never meant to be exposed, painted black, gives the impression of a small rural New England town. Also in the POCD, page 71, Ashford 2000 to 2025, it says the Warrenville West Ashford area of the town should follow a shared vision for the promotion of civic activities and advancement of commercial and light industry enterprises. And I applaud you wanting to bring a business to town. The following traditional land use and the employing of architectural and site elements designed to create an aesthetically pleasing and pedestrian-friendly environment. I do not feel that a black cinder block structure meets our POCD nor our zoning regulations. And I feel that the current applicants in moving forward and significantly changing and altering the outer covering of the building violated Article 5C, Section 2, as well as Article 4C, Section 7. And I believe at the last meeting, Jeff also asked if a peaked roof line could be added and possibly shutters on the outside of the building. And would it be possible, Mike, to put up the photos that I submitted of surrounding commercial structures? Thank you.
Sure.
So that's a photo of the Cumberland Farms on 44 near the intersection of 89. And below that would be the post office on 74. And that's the top is the small strip mall where Hope and Wellness is located. And the second one is Zen Leaf, just right down the street. Oops. And that's a photo of the mobile station directly across the street. And the Dollar General that's going to be directly next door to the applicant's building. That's the top photo is the photo of the applicant's building. And from what I understand, the only thing that's going to change is that the cinder block is going to be painted black. And the bottom photo is the wooden spoon next door. So I don't feel that the current structure meets what the POCD envisioned for our special permit area as a public face, nor do I believe it meets our zoning regulations, Article 4C, Section 7. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Comments from Guz or Hassan?
Yeah, so the most of the pictures that he just showed, those are, 20, 30-year-old buildings, which were probably built after all the codes came on board. So they probably worked with all.
That's not true. You're already I don't mean to go back and forth on this, but I don't want to go down the wrong road. That's not true. Cumberland has been in
Okay.
the last 10 years. Dollar General's been in the last 10 years. They're
Correct.
not 20
So
or 30 years old.
that's where I was trying to get to. Like those are new buildings that they built. We're working on a building that's from 1967, and since he pointed out few businesses, I could point out couple just from the top of my head that are cinder blocks painted right in Ashford Center. Um, I guess Mark wasn't there when they were starting their business. Um, the one that pops up in my head because we're in the same industry is Midway Service Center, 177 Ashford Center Road. That's a cinder block painted to white. Truthfully, our my renderings look much better than what that building looks like right now. And I don't think we're maybe can comment on that too later on, but I can't spend $500,000 on a building that's from 1967 that I'm gonna put 35 cars on. Maybe Hassan can comment on that too, and maybe Mark can comment on Midway Service Center, how that's okay to be cinder blocks painted white, which is probably peeling at this point. There's no regulations on that building?
They're not seeking a special permit to change anything.
Correct, but our existing building
Is a cinder
was
block.
it was cinder blocks. Like it was, we haven't done any new structures. We haven't built anything new. It's not a brand new construction that we're building there. And that business was in auto industry as well, not as sales, but they were selling gas and auto repair actually.
I will just, excuse me one second, Mark. I'll just give you the example that Cumberland Farms was simply a brick building previously on 44. And when they came back in, they did a rendering that was, and I know they're a big conglomerate. So, I know you guys are entrepreneurial and don't have the backing and the funds or something like that. But again, their input was coming back in with that New England small town design with the gabled roofs and the lower stone or brick everything coverage and all too. So uh, things change, okay, and we're trying to make things change for the better and maintain a number of things. That's why our POCD has so many indications, again, plan of conservation and development, to have development be uh, a synergy, that it meets the needs of the town and allows us to not continue to look like a cinder block pillbox on the side of the road. But I just wanted to say that there are examples on both sides of that. And because what happened in the past doesn't mean it has to continue this way or should continue this way, which is what a number of members of boards and commissions across the town feel. Mark, you had your hand up again. Was there something you wanted to
I
say?
was just going to say that, there were major alterations to the exterior when the building, and I don't know what year the building was put into service, but there have been, major exterior alterations to what was approved, 50 years ago. And for all practical purposes, that business there hasn't been a business on that property for, it appears, 4 decades. Again, it appears that Article 4C, Section 7, major alterations have occurred. Thank you.
Mark, you don't have to answer this, but you said you're in the same industry as car sales, and where is your business
Jeff, I
located?
don't think we need to have this back and forth.
You don't ask questions of the commissioners unless it's pertinent to your
Okay.
business, please, not about their background or
I
anything
thought he
like
doesn't
that.
have to answer it, so it's cool. Okay.
Thank you. Janet, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, so it's been brought up about several things have been brought up. I just wanted to follow up on. One is fire department. Do we ask the fire department if don't they usually approve things like this? Like, do they have room to come in? Have we asked them if this it works for them? And since there's an existing driveway, does DOT have anything to do with approving this? I am really concerned about the traffic, which you brought up, Jeff. And I think there's no way that we want trailers sitting on the side of the road. If they can't get into the parking lot, then they shouldn't be allowed, as far as I'm concerned. So those are
Okay.
my questions and comments.
We obviously didn't bring in the fire department. I don't know if there's an issue when it comes to if someone's home, if their driveway can't reach it and they park on the street, then it's just a matter of their hoses reaching to the location. That's my guess. But again, I don't mean to overstep my bounds on this in any way. Too bad Luther's not on and could give us some background on that. But it is something we could reach out to the Paul Varga and his group and find out. Charlie Sweetland.
So Jeff, we did not, it would be, yeah, Charlie. Generally the aisle widths that we're seeing here allow for a fire apparatus to get in. They typically like to be able to get onto 3 sides of the building if possible, which they would have from both the front access, from the adjacent lot, and from Dollar General. But we do all of that stuff when required goes through review with the fire marshal at the building permit stage, and they typically look at the plans as approved, and they would, fire marshals tend to issue mandates. They don't issue plan comments. So they would say, I don't have enough room here. You got to move this. And they would obligate them to, make whatever access is necessary. So,
Right.
these inspections, would be done, which is why, I didn't send anything to them up front. We've also had some revisions to the site plan since the last time. So, if we were going to get comments, we want to make sure that we're pretty settled on the layout. But I guess
Right.
I just want to be clear, that doesn't absolve them. If Charlie looks at it and he doesn't like certain layout or something, he's going to tell them to amend it. And that's, on the fire side, basically non-negotiable.
Right. Very good. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for the input.
Jeff, I just wanted to make note, there's someone on the call. There's a 9448. That's Jesse Murray. And I know that doesn't have the ability to raise his hand since he's on the phone. So I know he's
Oh,
to be called on when it gets time for the public.
okay. Thank you. All right. Anything else from the commissioners at this point?
Jeff, I think Hassan has a
Yes,
comment.
Mr. Crocker. Yes.
Um,
I'm sorry.
it, I know that we said that they were painting the center blocks, which is I know all of the buildings, everybody paints them. But if the color of it matters to be a different color, we are happy to do any colors that you like. We just like the black color because it's been the latest, in the area. All the renovated buildings are in darker colors, as well as the fire department. Fire department never puts a truck next to fire. They leave it 50 to 100 feet away from the fire, so their $1 million truck is not getting damaged. They never come next to the fire. They go 50 to 100 feet beyond and reach them out with the hose.
I can say based on Mark's point, I too honestly was a little taken aback at the black, considering on all sides and on most of the pictures that he was able to share with you that they are lighter colors. And again, it isn't even so much the color as it is the rendering of the building itself. But we actually tried to deal with something like that as a community, as you saw before with the mural that was on there, and trying to get for years trying to get approval by the owner to at least do something with it when nothing was going to be done, by having a community effort to put at least a whimsical mural on there for the community to see instead of just the white box that's there. So at this point, if nothing else from the commissioners, I'm going to open up to the public for any comment. Simply raise your electronic hand, get my attention by waving at me if you're coming online. Please state your name, your address if you're looking to speak, and try to keep it 2 minutes or less. We appreciate it. Anything you wish to share?
I know Jesse wants to speak. That 9448.
Okay. All right, we'll reach down. Jesse Murray, did you say?
Yes, speaking. Is the commission able to hear me?
I'm sorry?
Is the commission able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. My name is Jesse Murray. I live in town. I actually happen to work in law enforcement, so just for public record, I'm not going to go state my address. I will just bring to the attention of the commission that they can deny a special permit not explicitly covered in regulations if the proposed use poses a significant threat to public health, safety, or welfare, or if it negatively impacts the community, in ways not anticipated or mitigated by regulation. I'm not going to list the whole statute, but I think the responses of the applicants tonight have made it abundantly clear that they are tone deaf to not only the needs, but just the nature and the feel for this community, right? When I moved here, I did it in such a way to, brave the commute that it takes to get to the capital cities, to raise a family, right? When you put a 35, 40 car used car lot right in the center of town, the first intersection that people see, you're sending a message to them that this is something that we encourage. And when you let it, have the aesthetic value that these people are talking about, painting it black, stacking the vehicles up, you're going to impact property values, but you're also going to impact the future sale of this community to people that we want here, right? These applicants don't live in the community, okay? They own businesses that do the same exact thing in Holyoke, Bloomfield, and other places. And it's going to have an impact in the community in ways that is just indescribable outside of the obvious, right? You're also going to put a used vehicle lot in the center of Ashford, right, without having a police force, right? We're going to have all these exposed, catalytic converters out there. We're 15, 20 minutes away from the nearest police station. Okay, we're going to have traffic coming in and out of there, doing test drives, doing drop-offs and tractor trailers that we don't even have a light there. We got a blinking yellow, and we managed to have an accident there about once a month. We've already allowed a pot shop, a vape store, and we want to go ahead and throw in a used car lot between a Dollar General and a liquor store. Okay, if people wanted to live in Bloomfield or Holyoke, they would move there because that's what they can afford. When you move to a nice, quiet place like Ashford, that's the whole sale of the community. It's nice, it's quiet, it doesn't have the burdens of the inner city. We bring this company in, that's what we're signing up for. And when the applicants tell you that they don't have access to the funds, one of the applicants himself advertises himself online as a senior loan officer, mortgage consultant. They can make a nice area. They're not interested in the community. They're not going to hire people from the community. The vehicles that they have on the lot won't even be paying property taxes to the community. Okay? The amount of property taxes that they even pay to Bloomfield is sub $500 a year. This is going to be a detriment. It's going to be an eyesore. It's going to bring down the entire sale value of the community. And I think it's up to the commission to choose not to issue this special permit because it is within their right for the facts that I've stated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Thank you for your comments. Ruth Cutler, your hand is up. Ruth? One more there. Oh, now you're on mute. You weren't on mute. There you go. Talk to us. Okay. Well, if you get through to us, please let us know. And I have Wendy Schnabel. Please go ahead, Wendy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hold on.
A little bit of an echo.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hold on. All right. So anyway, I live in the neighborhood and I come in and out of this neighborhood quite often. And I don't want to have to see a big black building, cinder block building. It's not going to be appropriate. It doesn't fit in with the town. I don't care what color you're painting it. It's still going to be a cinder block building. It doesn't fit. Mark showed you all those pictures of the other businesses within this town. And this particular one is just not gonna cut it. But that's number one. The traffic. That intersection has more accidents in it than anywhere else in this town because of the way it's designed. It doesn't have a stoplight. It has a yellow blinking light. And people come flying down 74. People come flying back up and down 44. Now you're going to add this car lot where people don't know the area when they're looking at cars. They're going to come flying through, people coming down not knowing it's there, and we're going to have crashes. We already have enough traffic with the Dollar General coming in and out, the package store in the gas station. Now you're going to add this. I know they've said before in the previous meeting that there's only going to be maybe 4 or 5 customers. Well, sorry, that's not a whole lot of customers. However, with enough customers, that's going to cause more traffic. Traffic we don't need. Plus, you're going to have a 3-car trailer bringing cars in. There is absolutely zero room for that 3-car trailer to bring cars. Zero. There is going to be too much congestion in that area when you've got that tractor trailer coming in with these cars. That's another one. That's another one with the traffic. Crime. You're going to invite crime into our town. Thank you very much. We already have enough crime in our town with people stealing parts off of cars, which I believe has calmed down, has quieted down a little bit. But now you're going to bring in these used cars in a used car lot where you're going to invite more crime. We don't need that in Ashford. Move it to some other town. Go to Willimantic, right? That's a better town for a used car lot, not quiet Ashford. It's going to have a negative impact all over the place for the community, the property value. You people are going to be paying what, a couple $100 of taxes a year? That's not going to provide anything for our town. You're not going to be paying any car taxes because it's a used car lot. That doesn't give us any advantage. You're not going to employ anyone from this town either because it's a used car lot and you're going to be employing it yourself. So that's not a benefit for us. Let's see, what else can we say? Plus, it's not fitting for the New England town that we're looking for. You know, maybe if you made it a little bit more pleasing to the eye, maybe. We still don't need a used car lot. I'm not sure how you decided this would be the spot to put a used car lot, because I can't imagine you're going to have a whole lot of customers from this area. My other thing is you do have electric vehicles being sold. Mr. Oguz, stop shaking your head with the attitude. You've had this all night and it's kind of annoying. You are a loan officer. You do have money. You could do this if you wanted to, but you're choosing not to because you want to go buy the cheap way just to earn some more money with another used car lot. Again, you do sell electric vehicles, so don't lie. You have 2 other car lots. And let me remind you, your 2 other car lots also have this big old fence around it. Are you going to put a big old fence around this too to make it even more attractive? I don't think so. This is what you see coming down Route 74. This is what you're going to see as you come down 74. You're going to see this big old ugly building with all these cars lined up in a parking lot. That's not what I want to see when I come home or leave. That's not what I want some people to see when they're coming through our town. That's not Ashford. And where are all the people from Jeff? Where are all the people from Ashford that had a problem with this other business across the highway because it's, you know, Ashford in a pretty town, you know, and the environments and all that other stuff. You know, I mean, I could just go on, but let me tell you, the 40 cars, what happens when those 40 cars start leaking the oil, the gas, the antifreeze? Where is that all going? You're saying you have this catch basin. How about the property behind you? There's this beautiful property that's behind you. All that's going to run off in there, in that property. We are down that way. I don't want that crap in my water because I have a well. I don't have city water. I don't want it in my water. I have animals. I don't need it. And then you're talking about the building because it's been there. Well, it hasn't been in use for over 50 years. I think at this point, it needs to be probably torn down and rebuilt or just torn down, period. And that lot just used for nothing. And I'm not sure why the town just didn't buy it to avoid all this stuff. But anyway, those are my main points that I wanted to make on this whole thing. I think a lot of it is safety, though. We don't have a police force that's going to be able to come in and arrest people who are going to try to steal your vehicles or parts off your vehicles. And our fire station, it's a volunteer fire department. So when those EV vehicles start blowing up and going, you know, having fires, who's going to put it out? How about the neighboring businesses that you're now going to ruin because of the fire? You know, this is not an appropriate business for this town. I don't think it should be approved for this town. I think you people need to find another location. It's just not going to be very eye-pleasing. It's not going to be good for our economy, for this town. It's not going to be good for traffic, not good for crime. I mean, I could go on, but it also doesn't meet the POCD requirements.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Schnabel. Ruth, have you had an opportunity to get through to us? Okay. Any other public comment out there please, again, get my attention with an electronic hand or wave at me. Okay. Seeing as that, I do have a couple of submitted comments. Mike, do you have the ability to bring up Gail's comments, please?
Sure.
Thank you. I'll read it into the record. Again, this was posted with the meeting materials previously. Okay. Can you increase my view a little bit? Okay. This is to the Ashford Planning and Zoning Commission from Gail Chernosky. Subject being PZ-25-3 motor vehicle sales and service at 221 Pompey Hollow Road, from September 7th, 2025. There are more car accidents at the intersections of routes 44 and 74 than anywhere else in Ashford, even more than by the highway. I believe these potentially, I'm not sure if these circles show accidents over a certain period of time or anything. I don't know. There's no legend to it. Mike, if you want to move down. Am I locked up? There we go. Thank you. Ingress and egress to 221 Pompey Hollow Road will make the situation worse. Customers will be taking used cars out and back for test drives. 3-car trailers and other trucks will be making deliveries, and the situation cannot be compared to past conditions at the old gas station, as the opening of Dollar General has increased congestion in the junction. Therefore, I urge the commission to reject yet another driveway in the 7444 intersection area and to work with the state DOT and our traffic engineer to find a better, safer solution, maybe a proposed common driveway within a butter. Regarding the applicant's comments that the septic has been approved, the county line septic letter suggests several repairs. Well, we've gone through this. Have these repairs been made? Yes, that's been indicated. And what was needed and what was fixed has been completed. The site is small and steeply sloped in the back, presenting many difficulties. Surely an engineer's report on the site dealing with the stormwater questions and site access would be better than just letting the paving company slant everything to the back. And again, this has been addressed by the catch basin, the trench that and the grading that would be taking place. For all of these reasons, I hope the commission requires an engineered site plan and rejects the applicant's request for a waiver. Gail Chernosky. And Mike, while you're there, can you grab Christine's? Sorry about that.
Christine's from the. Okay.
Christina Sebo had submitted one also. Public comment.
Yep.
I would have looked for it myself, but I probably would have disappeared off the meeting. Okay, hey, I can see that. Okay. And again, this is from Christina Sebo to the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding PZC-25-3, the proposed used car dealership at 221 Pompey Hollow Road. After listening to the comments by the applicants and the responses to questions from the commissioners, my enthusiasm about this new business coming to Ashford is guarded. In the previous public hearing, there were several questions about how the applicant would deal with potential pollution runoff from the proposed repaved lot. It was not clear from the responses that they considered this important to mitigate, saying at one point that they could have the paving done so it wouldn't slope toward the road, but could instead slope to the back, into the woods that ultimately drain to the river. They intend to create parking spaces for 35 cars, used but in otherwise unspecified conditions. There is zero possibility that none of these cars will leak something toxic onto the pavement, whether gas, oil, brake fluid, antifreeze, etc. How will they prevent toxic runoff from pavement and also service bays from entering the ground? This has been addressed by the commission. With the rise of electric cars comes the risk of lithium battery fires and explosions. Older batteries, i.e. and used cars, are at greater risk. A lithium battery fire takes either copious amounts of water over extended period time to put out, or specialty techniques. Can our fire department deal with this kind of potential event? How will the facility store lithium batteries and mitigate the potential for fires and explosions? Does PZC have the authority to monitor the facility to ensure it stays neat and clean and does not turn into something like the Service Center junkyard on Route 74 in Wellington? Does the parent company for this proposed business have a clean bill of health from their other facilities? Have they ever been cited or for environmental issues? Thank you for your work and efforts to keep Ashford safe, clean, and attractive. Christina Sebo. I think those were the only two written public comments that were submitted. So at this point, with no further public comment, going once, going twice, I open it up for final comments from Mr. Karuka.
Um, the EV vehicles, we never sold one. We will not sell one. We could do, I don't know, maybe we could put something on the zoning or something that says, if you have EV vehicles, your license will be terminated or something in that case. For as far as the siding goes, looks like most of, both neighboring buildings and the gas station, they used white siding. We could do siding with a conditional approval from you guys. I'm willing to do the siding of the building, no problem. But at the same time, it would have to be a conditional approval from you guys in order for me to invest more money into it, into the building.
Well, this is a hearing as opposed to a negotiation, Mr. Haruka. If you were to put siding on, if you were to tell us that you were putting siding on it, then that would deal with a number of the issues that have come up about it. But we're not in a position to say, if you do that, then we will approve what's going on. We have to have a discussion on this during our meeting to gain that. We don't do a vote during a hearing.
Okay, in that case, Jeff, I just sent another mock-up with the siding. I had that in that was one of my choices, I guess, of we talked about this as well. And I sent Mike an email with the rendering. I don't know if you could pull it up right now or not. If not, it's okay, but I did share that with him too. We will do a siding, to the building. I sent him a rendering of a white siding on the building. I don't know if Mike is able to
I'm
pull that up or
looking.
not.
Mike, are we open to take in material at this point in the hearing?
Yeah, public hearing is open. So,
Okay. Yep.
I will try to.
As far as the coast goes, Jeff, it's not, it's It's not a big difference siding versus painting. I'm gonna hire painters to do it. It's not the cost of it. I personally, truthfully thought the black looked better than the white siding. That's why I chose that. But if it's, if that's gonna make anything different, I'm okay with the siding as well.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
We thought about these too. We want to be, we want it to look good from outside. That's why we were pushing to do the paving as well. We didn't have to. We could have just graded it and left it as is, but we want it curb appealing. We don't want it to look like, another whatever she mentioned. But I think Christine mentioned service center, that looked not eye appealing.
Okay. Any other comments?
That's all.
Okay. Hassan, giving you open time too. Do you have any other comments as applicants?
No comments.
Okay. And if there's nothing else from the commissioners, then we'll move to close the hearing for PZ-25-3 for the application for the special permit application. And thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the public. Thank you to Mr. Karuka. And we'll move into the next section of our meeting for tonight. I can find my notes. Here we go. Okay, commission business, PZ-25-3, special permit application per section 300-18C for motor vehicle sales and service at 221 Pompey Hollow Road, applicant, O. Karuka. So this is our meeting discussion, for the, commissioners. I open it up to, any of the commissioners for discussion. Come on, we all can't just be
All right.
nothing to say, nothing to do, nothing to hear. Thank you, Janet. What can I do for you?
Yeah, I couldn't get my mute off. Yeah, I have a number of concerns. I agree with Mark that it doesn't really fit into the vision of our POCD or what we want the center of our town to look like. I take Mr. Murray's concerns seriously about increased crime that might happen. My biggest concern is the traffic. I don't think that this is a safe. I don't think it's safe to have this kind of business with cars coming in and out and an extra driveway on that corner. I think everybody who uses it knows how difficult it is. You have to already look at 5 different ways to for traffic. So I don't. We want more businesses in town and we want to encourage them, but I don't think this is a good location for this type of facility.
Thank you, Janet. Mark, and again, this is a discussion, so, please, other commissioners, feel free to, you don't necessarily have to get my attention to comment on any other commissioner statements, but go ahead, Mark.
No, I agree with Janet. I think traffic is a major concern. I also stated earlier, I don't believe this fits the vision of our POCD and the public face of our town. I think there are better locations for a used car lot than a major intersection in our town. And I agree with both Janet and Mr. Murray. I do think that it's going to potentially increase crime in the area. So crime, traffic, I don't believe it fits into our POCD. Thank you.
Thank you. Nord.
I see pluses and minuses here, and in my mind, I see more pluses than minuses. And one thing I'd like to say about traffic, in years ago, when this was a gas station, they sold fuel. They had a high volume of entrance and exits all the time, and that intersection was even more poorly controlled because it didn't even have a blinking light. All it had was a stop sign. So I don't think the traffic is, I mean, you could grandfather it in, but actually it's more favorable now because the volume is going to be much less than it was back when that was operating as a fuel station. I remember when they were selling a lot of fuel, and that was before it was 35 cents a gallon. And they were very competitive with that, so they sold a lot of fuel, and there was a lot of traffic in and out. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Nord. Doug.
Excuse me, I apologize for interrupting. Can Norm express what he thinks are the positives? He said that he feels there's a lot of positives, but he didn't detail what they were.
Well, I appreciate your question, Mr. Murray, but this is commissioner time frame as opposed to public comment. But we get a little loose with this sometimes. So in a second, after Mark speaks, we'll have Nord touch upon the positives that he saw. It's an excellent question. Thank you.
Thank you. My
Mark.
apologies for interjecting.
Well, I just wanted to respond
That's okay.
to Nord's comment about traffic. I mean, this business hasn't been a running gas station for 40 or 50 years. I think speeds on our road are significantly higher today. People drive much faster today than they did 50 years ago. The volume at that intersection, I can assure you, is much higher today than it was 50 years ago. I drive in and out of that intersection every single day. I live right off of Pompey, Southworth Drive, so I'm in and out of that intersection every day, and it's virtually impossible to get out of Pompey onto the main road. So traffic is definitely a concern.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Doug, got your audio set?
I'm going to try this again. Does it work?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So we have an application in front of us. I noticed in the application there's a waiver request as well, so I think we need to address that in our conversation. And I think some of the items that came up ultimately would have probably been avoided if a special application was applied in full. But some of the items were verbally addressed in today's discussion. I think there shouldn't be any questions about the permitted use because the zone is special permit use for this application. So whether we want it there or not, it's a zone usage. The thing that I think is a little outstanding
since there was no traffic study done, is how traffic in the intersection will be addressed with the addition of a business here that is currently not an active business. So clearly there's an increase there will be an increase over today's volume. I don't know, I'm just thinking of the things that we need to address, not necessarily the things that we like or don't like.
Jeff, can I make a
Okay.
comment?
You sure can, Mike.
So, just because I'm watching the attendance list, and it looks like pretty much everybody is still here. I mean, I know you stated that the public hearing would be closed, but I think the commission in pretty short order could make the decision to keep it open if there was more information that could or should be provided. The information, as you know, the commission makes decisions based upon information in the record, really, frankly, evidence in the record, and information is not the same as evidence. And so if you're making decisions off of things, they need to be based upon what is in the public hearing record. So we have to be careful with what that is when you start talking about perceptions, assumptions, opinions, and things that aren't supported by data that is in the record. So if there are concerns about traffic, remember this is a state road, an existing site. Anything that is done here would have to go through encroachment permits with DOT if they feel that there's an increase in traffic, et cetera. Those are non-negotiables. Again, we have no control over 44, 74, or the curb cut. But if there are concerns about traffic and people feel that this intersection is not where it's supposed to be, and that this facility, to Doug's point, which is a permitted use in the zone, is going to create an increased undue burden on that intersection, then I would recommend the commission seek to get evidence to make either support or not that statement one way or another, rather than making decisions based upon not having any real evidence in the record to say that one way or another. A traffic engineer could provide that and could look at current traffic accidents, volume of traffic, and make a determination as to how the proposed business would impact peak flow in AM and PM. And I would strongly recommend the commission think about that before kind of going any further, because we don't really have evidence in the record for that right now.
Okay, I would just like to make a clarification also, and both you and Doug have kind of stated this, and it is not a permitted use. It is listed in the special permit use, and thus we have a whole procedure for going through special permits. Okay, I just want to make that clear for the commission. It is not a permitted use.
That's fair, Jeff. I may have misspoken, but I was thinking of the special permit section
Right.
of the commercial zone.
Understood. It is listed under the special permit. You're absolutely right, Doug.
Yeah.
But that's why we have the whole special permit process.
I get it. Appreciate the clarification.
Jeff, if it's not too late, can I make a comment? Just a comment, not about the, it's not about the project.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
As one of the speakers, the one with the phone number, mentioned, I'm a mortgage broker. I do real estate, so I get at least 2-3 phone calls a week about this property. Let's say this didn't work out. I got people looking for the property for as a real estate office, coffee shop, restaurant, and I'm thinking to myself, any of these businesses will have more traffic than a used car dealership with 35 car inventory on it. So going forward, it like whatever goes in that spot will cause more traffic than this business. Even a nail salon will cause more traffic. Even a nail salon will get more customers than, I can't imagine a coffee shop. Like this, I can't wrap up, I can't wrap it in my head that the traffic is the main concern, because whatever goes into that spot, unless it's a residential house, is gonna cause more traffic. And again, I'm in the real estate industry, so I get calls about this property, 2, 3 times a week. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Karuka.
May I, Jeff?
Who was speaking? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Jenny.
Doug, go ahead, Doug.
So any business on this lot or any of the lots in this intersection will generate traffic at various levels. I think we should consider requesting a traffic study for this specific type of application from the applicant to understand the impacts for this application, because that's the application that's in front of us. I think the reason why we're thinking of what could be and what may or may not be is because it hasn't been done, and a waiver request has been submitted to us as part of this application to waive such additional special permit items such as a traffic study.
Excuse me, and I apologize for interjecting again. I did notice that the applicant was allowed to suggest a pros. Is this also shut now to the public as well as the applicant, or no?
It really should be. I appreciate everybody's input. I did, go a little loose. I let a little loose for you. I went a little loose for Mr. Karuka, but this is really the commission's business right now. I appreciate the input, but it's really the commission's business, because anything else outside of this is outside of the hearing, because we did close the hearing. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Murray. Thank you, Mr. Karuka. But I have to say that the other thing that isn't really addressed here is it's not just traffic. I mean, for me, I agree wholeheartedly with the fact that any business that would go in here is going to generate traffic, because any business that does go in will do that. If the traffic were an issue, then it's not a matter of number of cars going in. It's some of the things we talked about with the trailers and things taking up room in there. But again, we have no proof that that would be the issue. I think it's 95% positive that it would cause trailers bringing in there would cause problems with the traffic. However, let's not forget the issues that Commissioner Schnabel brought up regarding the agreement with our POCD, and for that matter, agreement with 300-18 of the general commercial zone. In that area, when it comes to the purpose of the general commercial zone, consistent with the town's plan of conservation development, is to provide for meaningful and realistic commercial utilization of appropriate portions of the town for a complementary and integrated mix of employment, shopping, entertainment, and civic uses while preserving the town's rural character. Second, the further purpose of the general commercial zone is to promote the economic viability and operational sustainability of agricultural business in the town of Ashford, as outlined in the Ashford Plan of Conservation and Development. Specifically, these regulations are intended to address food and fiber needs, B, enhance environmental quality and the natural resources base upon which the agricultural economy depends, C, make the most efficient use of non-renewable resources and on-farm resources and integrate, where appropriate, natural biological cycles and controls. D, sustain the economic viability of farm operations. And E, maintain an agricultural friendly community. And going further with what Mr. Schnabel had said when it comes to the current POCD, objective 1 for this area, retain and expand commercial economic development in West Ashford. A, solicit by survey or other means public input to determine the preference and needs of Ashford citizens in regards to commercial services. The goal of this is to encourage business success by demonstrating the commercial service needs of the town. not just the folks that have spoken now, but we have done surveys like this. We've done surveys back in 1998. We've done surveys more recently for the current use of the POCD, and nowhere was a car dealership mentioned in there for the needs, the food and fiber, and what fits into our POCD from a physical structure. While I really appreciate Mr. Karuka's offer regarding the siding and the rendering that changed that and look, which I think is head and shoulders above the black rendering that was shared. I personally feel that um, the a number of the points that were made by the public and by a couple of the commissioners as to, is this what we want in Ashford? I mean, we want businesses. Yes, we want business. We want the right businesses. We want businesses that gain us access. Even the businesses that Mr. Karuka listed off, not so much maybe the nail salon, if you looked at my nails, but a coffee shop, even a real estate office, a dentist's office, any of these things that bring services to the community that multiple people can make access to. One of the reasons Dollar General went in was it was very helpful when it came to especially our senior group not having to travel 20 to 30 minutes to go buy a birthday card for their grandchild, or wrapping paper for that child's gift or anything like that. Again, conveniences and things that the community can use. Early on, I know the Dollar General concern was that it was knockoff stuff. Well, yeah, they have private label, but they have got a lot of the common, well commercial labels of products and things like that. So it has proved to be helpful. Cumberland Farms, the same thing. It went from a smaller non-destination to someplace where some people actually make plans to stop on the way through on 44, going over to Rhode Island. So, anyways, I think I don't think traffic is necessarily going to be the benefit. And to that end, Mr. Karuka said he didn't want to delay any more on this either. He wanted to not delay another month. So I guess I am looking either for further input on where you think we should go, or again, we have closed the hearing, so we need to, unless we feel we can get a traffic study done in, what would it be, Mike, 30, 35 days?
Right. For the next meeting.
Right. We need to look at a number of the other issues, not just the traffic. So I open it up for any further comment on that and how the board feels about where to go and what's good for Ashford. Mrs. Steve Pesh, haven't heard from you tonight. Thank you.
No, not yet. If this is maybe more of a question for other commissioners and perhaps Mike D'Amato. Do we have any guidance on what would be the basis for deciding whether or not to allow a waiver as requested in the narrative?
Mark, do you have your own question? Or are you looking
No,
to
no,
give
no,
input
no.
on that?
I was gonna offer an answer.
Okay.
In my research, incompatibility with our POCD is enough of a reason for denial.
Yeah, and the issue for the waiver, I mean, to grant the waiver simply just grants the waiver from I believe it was from uh, a site, a full-fledged engineered site rendering. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah. So Steve, I guess to answer the question that I think you asked, the the intent behind the waiver process and what the commission has considered or found in previous applications is if a piece of information is not necessary to make a decision, then you would grant the waiver. So, you know, if they're not proposing to construct a building, then you don't need a building plan or whatever. So if you feel that whatever information is cited in that section of the regulations, if you have what you need to make a decision completely, then you would grant the waiver to the other material, the other application items.
So just to make sure I'm squaring this, if we as a commission felt that there was some missing and information that could be provided by, if I'm quoting the text in the narrative, a formal engineered plan with a licensed engineer or surveyor, if we thought that there was some sort of information that is needed, then we wouldn't be able to approve the waiver at this time.
Right. My recommendation would be that if, you know, the commission has to put the applicant in a position to provide or to discuss those items. You can't, you know, not necessarily bring something up and then at the end of the application deny the waiver and make a decision on the application, right? So the applicant has requested the waiver and said, I don't think I need to provide these things. If the commission thinks that they need to provide them, then they need to give the applicant the opportunity to actually provide them. So, you know, generally speaking, the waiver has been in the affirmative, where the commission is in agreement that it doesn't need something. And so that's been done at the end of the sort of consideration of the application, because they're finding that they have the information that they need. Commission is feeling as if they don't have the information they need and they do not want to approve the waiver, you know, and I'm not saying that this hasn't happened yet or whatever, but you need to make sure the applicant has the opportunity to respond to that and actually provide that information. It's not a, I won't provide it. It's a, I feel I don't need to provide it.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for the question, Steve. And again, pointing us back to that. So I guess, does the commission feel that they have the information they need to make some type of decision one way or another? If not, then, and if I get this negative or double negative wrong, Mike, please correct me. And if we feel we don't have the information, then we need more information. So thus we would deny the request for waiver. Is that correct?
I think that if you feel you don't have enough information, that it hasn't been provided, unless you've already requested it and it hasn't been provided, I think you need to give the applicant the opportunity to provide it. Because the applicant was upfront in the submission of the application that they did not feel they needed to provide certain things. They responded from the last public hearing with the items that the commission asked them to address. So to now come to this meeting and have the commission say, well, you didn't provide this one particular document, and so for those reasons we're issuing a decision, without giving the applicant the opportunity to address that concern by providing that document, I think you need to give them that opportunity.
Is that all clear as mud for everyone? Janet, go ahead.
Yeah, it's not clear as mud to me. Are we only voting on whether to approve the waiver, or are we voting on whether we approve the whole idea or the project?
Mike, let me take a shot before you correct me. I would say that if we are voting, if we're two votes, if we are making a decision on the waiver and we say, and we agree, we approve the waiver, we're saying we've got all the information we need. And that would lead us to making a decision. on the special permit. Is that right, Mike?
Yes, if you approve the waiver, then that means the applicant has provided you with with sufficient information for you to make that decision.
Right. So if we deny the waiver, then what we're saying is we're asking for more information of the applicant before we render a decision on
Correct.
the special permit.
You're denying their request to submit a partial list of information, making a decision that something in the list they're seeking a waiver from, you need to make a comprehensive review and evaluation of the application. So you wouldn't deny the waiver and say, well, the applicant didn't provide a letter from their attorney about X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Because you never
Right,
gave them the
right.
opportunity to actually ameliorate that concern by providing it.
Right, right. So the question to the commission now is, do you feel you have adequate information as provided by the applicant to render a decision? Mark?
I don't think Norm ever mentioned what the positives were. He said he was
Oh,
gonna.
yes, Mr. Murray's question. Nord, what were the positives that you saw?
All right. First of all, the applicant has shown willingness to comply with all the requests that we've been asking him. He's been very cooperative with everything. That's a good sign. The other thing is, I'm sick and tired of looking at an empty building at an abandoned lot, and I'd like to see some enterprise there, something going on. As far as the traffic goes, the previous operator of that property probably had 100 times more traffic than this guy's going to have, with the people coming in to buy fuel all day, all night. As far as the cosmetics go, I think I don't think we really have a lot of purview on that. There maybe you could put in some shrubs or something to make it look better, but as an empty building at an abandoned lot, that's not us. That's all I want to say about that.
Thank you, Nord. So, going back to my question, does any commissioner feel there's additional information, and what is that information you need to render a decision?
I think we could approve the waiver.
So is there a motion to approve the waiver? I'm sorry, Steve, go ahead.
Since I wasn't at the July meeting, I'm kind of coming into this blind, but I, for one, would like to have more information about traffic. I don't know what a traffic study involves. I'm sure someone can explain it, but I don't think, since it's been an issue that's raised, a concern that's been raised by a couple of people here tonight, both in the public hearing and among us, I think we really need to have more information about the danger of traffic at an intersection that is very different than it was 50 years ago, with different buildings and different entrance and exits from the roads. I also am not sure that I'm completely satisfied with what I'm reading and hearing about stormwater management and runoff, dirt and grease from a paved parking lot that's going to have 30 some used cars for sale. I think there's some concern about how that type of stormwater waste management would be addressed that I'd like to get more information about before I can make a decision.
Thank you, Steve. So I guess, and this is just me being me, maybe naive, but when it comes to a traffic study, Mike, what are they really going to do? They're just going to count cars as to what's on the road, right? Because we don't have a business in there now that shows any cause or effect.
So they will use traffic volume counts, and if there are not well established or recent counts, they may do their own counts. They will perform an analysis, typically at an AM and PM peak hour review, and then they will use an analysis which is by it's referred to as the ITE, which is the trip generation manual that traffic engineers use to determine how much traffic is generated during peak hours by specific businesses. So all traffic analyses use the same trip generation numbers, and then they'll look at the number of accidents at these intersections based upon what is reported to the data center that's at UConn, the T2 center, and others. And they'll basically say, here's the current volume, here's the number of accidents or not, or whatever. Here's the amount of queuing that takes place, how long that it takes to make these turns, what the site distances are. And then they'll apply that ITE generation factor for the proposed use. And they will say, based on the number of trips per day during a peak hour, this facility will add 6 trips per day or 60 trips per day. And then they will opine on that number and whether or not that will deteriorate the function of the intersection. So it's a standardized method that all sort of traffic engineers use the same calculations.
So what's the reality of us getting that done by the state in a proper amount of time?
So it would not be done by the state. The applicant would hire an engineer, just like a surveyor, to perform that work. The state will give you traffic counts, but they're not going to do an analysis of the, a live analysis of the functionality of that site specifically. That would it has to be done by a traffic engineer. So a civil engineer that would do a site plan design, it's a different level of expertise.
So this would be an ask of the applicant.
Right. Yes. So if folks feel conflicted about the concerns related to traffic and they feel as though they need some technical or definitive information, and then that would be something the commission would request the applicant to provide.
Yes, Mark.
Well, so would the traffic study take into consideration car carriers parked on 44 to unload vehicles? Because it doesn't sound like that's part of the study.
Equation.
So that would not be part of the study. I think that issue is much simpler to resolve. If the commission gets to a place where all the other issues are addressed, then you could include a condition of the approval that says no vehicles can be parked, loaded, unloaded, or otherwise, brought to the site by way of deliveries occurring in the right of way. I think that's a condition of approval that you could include, and I don't think there needs, that ever needs to be sort of addressed. Anybody would have to they would have to figure out how to get those cars on the site without parking them in the right of way. If you're talking about on the site, that would be sort of a turning movement calculation of having them assess whether or not a large vehicle had capacity to get in and out of the site, which again, they could certainly provide, but that wouldn't be part of a traffic study.
Hale, I wouldn't want to be you. Uh, I'm at I'm at a bit of a loss right now because I'm trying to figure out how we continue to move forward or have the applicant move forward. A couple of our commissioners have brought up the fact that there is a waiver request. We've gone through the effort of if we grant the waiver request, then we feel we've got all the information. If we deny the waiver request, then we're asking for additional information. Um, the fact that we've closed the hearing, limits our time frame on this.
I think Mike said you could reopen the hearing, if I understood Mike correctly. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah, it's not something that typically happens, but because we're in the same meeting, you basically make a decision to reopen the hearing, and then
So if we open the hearing, we're asking of the Caracas to have a traffic study done and extending the hearing, correct?
right, if you decide to reopen and extend the hearing, number one, they would need to provide an extension to get you to the October meeting. And number two, you would want to state explicitly what information the commission feels they need to be able to make the decision. So if it's a traffic study, if it's a review by the fire marshal, whatever it is, we would want to explicitly state the items that you expect them to provide for at the October meeting.
Janet, your hand's up. I'm sorry.
All right. I'm not quite sure how to word this, but it's been brought up by several people that this usage does not meet the POCD, does not meet what our regulations suggest we would like for this area. I hate to ask the applicant to spend money on a traffic study and then have the commission decide that it's not an appropriate usage for the site anyway. So I'm not quite sure how that fits in with the whole flow of everything.
No, I fully understand what you're saying, and that was kind of what I was thinking too, that, okay, a traffic study comes back and it's going to say, it's going to have a number, it's going to show something. Is it going to say that it's a significant increase, that it's not a significant increase? Everything doesn't hinge on the traffic study in my book. It actually, the better case being made is the fit of the vision of the POCD and what we're looking for when it comes to our commercial business zone and again the spa areas of the current POCD. So, Nord, what do you got?
This traffic study, I don't understand. I mean, the previous operator, I was there in 1969 when this was a gas station, and the traffic would come and go all day long, in and out, in and out. And this guy, this new applicant, is going to have maybe five a day, much, 100 times less traffic at this operation compared to what it was then. And I'll tell you, I was there. I was there when it happened.
And what was surrounding the gas station?
What's that?
What was surrounding the gas station? What were the businesses surrounding the gas station?
There was an ice cream shop right next door. Where Dollar General is now, there was an ice cream shop there. And
Wasn't that a pizza? Wasn't that a pizza place?
Maybe it was, maybe they did that too at a different time.
You're not talking about the concrete factory, are you?
Yeah,
That was
you
well
stole my,
after. That was with the Edsons here. That was in like the 90s.
well, when it was a gas station, I think there was a pizza shop next door. And there was another gas station across the street and a restaurant over there. Palomino restaurant. And there was a gas station with a dirt driveway. It was unpaved gas station.
Okay, so I think we're all of the same mind that, though there were points brought up that the traffic itself is different than just in and out from a gas station. You have people that are looking to do test drives. You are, obviously having the deliveries there and things like that. I just don't think a traffic study is going to shed any light on this. But I'm open
I
to hear
agree
from
with
other
that.
commissioners.
I don't think a
Yeah,
traffic study is.
and you actually agree from a different standpoint, which is fine. So the two extremes are kind of covered here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, from what Janet said, I don't want the applicant to go and spend on something that doesn't lead to any helping in rendering a decision on this. Um, well, all I can do is try and move forward here. I am looking for a motion to accept the waiver for the applicant from the special permit requirements of the engineered site. Is there a motion?
So moved. Nord Yakovlev.
Nord. Nord. Is there a second?
I'll second Alex.
Alex. All those in favor of granting the waiver for the excuse me, sorry, getting tired. Granting the waiver to the engineered site plan for the applicant, please signify by saying aye. And then if it's not clear, I'll take a head count. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Opposed.
Two,
Opposed.
three. Okay, I had three there, so I just want to take all those in favor, Nord, Janet, Jeff, Tom, what was yours?
Mine was a yay.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who am I missing? Oh, Mark.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that passes 5-3. So that says that the commission has enough information to render a decision along this line. So now our next state is is there a motion to grant the special permit application to the applicant? And I'm doing this in a positive as opposed to a negative standpoint. So however the vote goes, however the vote will go. A motion does not indicate approval. Is there a motion to motion to approve the special application?
So moved.
Nord.
Second,
Is there a
Alex.
second? I'm sorry, Alex.
Second.
Alex. All those in favor of the motion for the special permit for the applicant? I'm going to do a head count. Nord,
Yes.
Alex,
Oh.
Janet,
No.
Steve,
No.
Doug,
No.
missing my names here. Mark,
No.
Nord, Steve, Alex, Doug, Jeff. No.
He didn't ask you.
Tom, I'm sorry, Tom.
No.
No. Okay, motion is denied for the special permit. 7-1. Based on its non-conforming with the requirements of the POCD and to section 318 of the general commercial zone, sections 1 and 2. Thank you, folks. Sorry it was so long and drawn out, but I'm glad we got clarification on that. Kayla, we'll also work with you. Mike and I will work with you for any details or anything to follow up on that in the next couple of days. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, guys.
Caracas. B, informal discussion, per 7-59B, to include KOK Management LLC pertaining
Yeah.
to 50, I'm sorry?
Sorry, the revised agenda has a new B. So B is now pre-application conference prior to the informal discussion.
Oh, I missed that.
Is that what you said?
Sorry, you froze up for a minute. I'm not sure where I lost you.
I was just saying that my printer's been going crazy. You said a pre-application conference?
Yep, hold on one second. I'll pull it up. We had to file a revised. It is posted online. They should both be there. Can you see?
Yes. Okay. All right, pre-application conference, per section 295-36B. I thought I saw this and then it disappeared on me, like I said, pertaining to an open space subdivision on, is it O Ference Road?
0, there's no address.
Okay, thank you. So I take this, Mr. Woodis?
Yes, good evening.
Good
Can you
evening.
hear me?
I can't hear you. Thank you for bearing with us for a prolonged, protracted period of time. So what are we pre-application discussing?
Well, the subject property is a vacant piece of property, hence the 0 Ference Road. The property is owned by Steve Krukoff, and it's located at the intersection of Route 89, Ference Road, and Hanath Road. The property itself is 12 and a half acres, and we're proposing to do a 6-lot subdivision. And per your regulations, any applicant proposing to subdivide a parcel of land into 6 more lots shall submit an open space subdivision plan, in addition to a conventional subdivision plan. So what we have before you tonight, as per your regulations, a pre-application conference with the commission to show you both the conventional subdivision layout, which Mike has up on the screen right now, of 6 lots. And then we have another page that shows a proposed open space subdivision with 6 lots. Can we bring that up, Mike? No, that's the same one.
Yeah, I just gotta.
There we go. So as you can see in the open space subdivision proposal, the lots, the 6 proposed lots would be clustered over to the left-hand side. Anyone familiar with this property knows that it's a hayfield or a pasture land. It's totally clear. There's no woodland. There's a small amount of wetlands associated with a pond down in the lower right. And we feel that it would be beneficial to go with the open space subdivision application because we could then preserve almost 7 acres of the field or pasture land and put it under a conservation or agricultural easement and have it be attached to and conveyed with the lot with the existing barn on it. So anyone who had that property could continue to use that property for some agricultural use, for hay or any other type of agricultural enterprise. That's a pretty much of a simplified overview, but I'll open it up to questions at this point.
Okay. I can honestly say it's not an area, the subdivision regs is not an area we frequently go into these days. So it's kind of refreshing, actually.
You're talking about open space subdivisions?
Just the subdivision, yeah, greater than 1 or 2 lot subdivision.
Understood. I totally understand that. And not a lot of towns are seeing, open space type subdivisions either. So I understand this might not be something that you folks have done in some time or maybe ever.
So, what's the indication for the smaller lots? What's the plan for those?
Just residential, single family homes.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a layout plan showing how the smaller lots can be developed. That's something that you can bring up, Mike? There we go. So 2 of the lots would be accessed off of Hanath Road, and then the other 4 lots would be accessed off of Route 89. It's a state road, so sight lines are governed by the state, but just as a point of reference, the sight lines are very good here. You're on the outside of a curve, and the road is relatively flat through that area.
Hi, this is Janet. It's hard to read these because they're not very large on our computers. So can you explain like the size of the lots, and then there's these little lines inside the lot, and then the circles? Is that the well?
Yeah, so the lots themselves are all let me see. Each lot is at least 1 acre. which is normal to have a reduced size lot in an open space subdivision so that you can preserve, in this case, 50% of the land. The circles are the minimum well arc that's required by the health department, 75 feet. You can see, a rectangle, which would be a proposed house location, and then septic system components, a tank and a leach field and a reserve area. And as you can see, as Mike has blown it up, there's plenty of room for the improvements on each lot, even though the lot sizes are reduced to 1 acre. The other dash lines are existing contour lines.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disappear, but my batteries aren't running low here.
Mhm. And the open space would be conserved?
Right. The the open space parcel would be put in a conservation and agricultural easement with the intention of conveying it along with the lot that has the existing barn on it. For those who are unfamiliar with the site, the property again is entirely open field, with the high point being in the upper left-hand portion of the lot, and sloping gradually diagonally down towards the right, towards the pond and towards Route 89.
If I could just jump in, Bruce may have already mentioned it, but just to give the background for the commission, I'm going to scroll through pretty quickly. A
Sure.
lot of regulations in towns require this of applicants, and frankly, it's not hugely productive, but they basically say if you want an open space subdivision, you got to come to us first informally and prove to us that you can get the same yield as you could with a conventional subdivision. And so what the applicant has done here, which I have on my screen, this shows the parcel broken up traditionally as if they gave everybody the full acreage, 2 acres plus the road frontage. So they're getting the 6 lots, and that assumes 100% development of the site, no open space. So now you flip to the current proposal, what they're essentially would like to come back to the commission for, which is the same total dwellings, but they're clustered in that the left side of the property. So just to show you, we're not getting any more development out of the site, but we're going to put it all in one corner so that half of the total parcel will remain in conservation easement in perpetuity. The regulations here, as is the case in many towns, require that the applicant demonstrate that to you before they can proceed with an actual open space subdivision application. So there's no decision that you make tonight. You're not approving the application. It's sort of allowing him to show you that they've done that analysis so that you can see that, and then they will submit a formal application.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
Are there any undue hardships in doing this that you're aware of?
Are you speaking to me or to Michael?
I'm sorry, to Bruce, to you, Mr. Woodis.
Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by undue hardships.
I either, obviously I don't see an interior lot, so that's because that's not an issue or anything like this. The access to any abutters or anything like this, is there any concerns there? Or we're not
No,
that far along?
no, well, we have to be somewhat far along in order to be able to produce two plans that you can evaluate. But no, there's no, this is a relatively easy one. You know, there's no land clearing
Yep.
involved. The slopes are moderate and steady. So there's no drainage issues. There's no wetlands on the property except associated with the pond. All of the proposed development will be more than 100 feet away from any wetlands. You know, we're out of the upland review area with the proposed development as it's shown, as opposed to the conventional subdivision, which we would be having driveways running along the wetlands and above the wetlands. So this is a pretty straightforward and not a very difficult subdivision or lot development when the lots are approved.
And would there be a homeowners association associated with the management of this?
No, there would not be a homeowners association because again, the intention would be that the parcel that's encumbered by the conservation easement would be conveyed along with that one lot with the barn on it. The other homeowners would not have rights to use
Okay.
that land, or in some other instances where you would have open space that would be for the benefit of all the lots in the property. This is not that sort of situation.
Any open space you want to donate to the town? No, just kidding.
Well, not here. Maybe somewhere else at some point. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share with us, or anything else Mike wants to put out there?
The only thing that I'd mention is Bruce did hit on it, but I think it's important to touch on it because it is less traditional. But I think in this case, important to mention is that, you know, they're looking at a conservation and agricultural easement on the property. So the key is not just to have open space that is privately held and really disconnected from everything else, but creating a situation where the property, that field can remain in agricultural production going forward. So that's what it is being used for now. And this opportunity allows the site to still get the 6 lots, but maintain half of it so that, well, I don't know who
Right.
currently works that field or who would in the future, but one of the things we would work with them on is making sure that the easement allowed for the agricultural production to remain so that that field could stay productive.
Yeah, and so in keeping with that, we would produce some kind of a document for your review and for Michael's review with the agricultural and conservation easement language, so that you could make sure that it was in keeping with what the town would want, but also so that they would be able to, for example, have farm machinery go out there to cut the hay and, to bale the hay and do that sort of thing. There are some conservation easements that would not allow for any motor vehicles or that sort of thing to go out on the property. So we want to be careful to make sure that they can use modern agricultural equipment out on the property. It's a minor point, but I've seen other easements or conservation easements get written so that all of a sudden this farm field can't be farmed unless you brought out a horse and a wagon and and cut the hay by hand with size. So like I said, it sounds kind of silly, but it's happened before.
So, Jeff, I think that's very important what Mr. Wood has said, because you do need equipment to get in there to make hay or wheat, whatever will be harvested on the property. And any potential homeowners that would move in, it needs to be clear that there's this easement that's in place for agricultural use.
That's a very good point. Everybody should be aware of it.
And the easement needs to be clear that it'll allow machinery, and some machinery is quite large. Especially when the acreage goes up.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the discussion. We appreciate that.
All right.
All right. Very good.
So I guess we just need to have the affirmation that we're good to move forward with the open space subdivision. Right, Michael? Do they need to make a statement or put something on the record here?
Yeah, I mean, they certainly can. It doesn't require a vote or any official decision, but I think if the commission has any concerns based upon what was submitted about the applicant proceeding with the open space subdivision in lieu of the conventional subdivision, then that should be stated now. Otherwise, they intend to submit a request for the open space subdivision for formal consideration.
Oh,
Based on Mike's discussion, are there any concerns of the commissioners regarding the open space versus the conventional subdivision? Mark?
I don't have any concerns. I just think it's a great idea, and thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you.
I think it looks like a good plan.
Well, thanks very much. Appreciate that.
Okay, I
All
think we're
right,
good to
we're
go.
good.
Here
Thank
are
you,
the
folks,
dissenting
for this.
opinions.
Wills, now, am I correct, Michael? Does an open space subdivision require a public hearing?
That I don't know. I will have to check. I don't have the subdivision regs up in front of me.
Okay. Because if it does, we want to get that scheduled. I don't know if it's too jumping the gun by trying to get it scheduled now or.
Well, so we would still have to do noticing. So you just give me a call or shoot me an email and we'll schedule it for as soon as what would be possible based on legal notices and with the newspaper and if there's a butters. So I
Okay.
can check that. Just touch base.
All right. I'll shoot you an email.
Okay.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Willis.
Okay.
All right. Unless Mike's got another curveball for me. C, informal discussion of 7-159B to include KOCO Management LLC pertaining to 54 Seacar Road. And I see where the initials come from. I would ask that you help me out greatly and state your name.
Yes.
And
my name is
happy to talk to you. Thank you.
Kwesi Oduro Konedo.
Thank you.
You can call me K for short.
Thank you very much.
Right? So if that works for you.
Thank you. Very much so. Okay, very good. So talk to us. I think you have a letter you submitted to the land use office
Yes.
regarding
So
the potential use of this property.
yes. So I don't know if Mike want to share the letter what we sent him. I think that would be more helpful to kind of like go over it real quick. But basically, I don't know if the commission is familiar with the property in question. It's kind of like the monastery that is located on 54 Circle, a cluster of houses with a church that was built on it. Our proposal is to see how we can repurpose that very facility to fit like kind of like what we want to do. which is basically it's a 24-acre parcel of land. And initially our plan is to go in and look at what we can do to complete that building, which is the church building, and repurpose it for a conference facility. And further planning is to see if the commission will be open to a text amendment for the use of the land for us to put cottages on the property, vis-a-vis doing all the necessary inquiries and studies to make sure that we have the proper kind of like zoning in order to afford us the opportunity to use that for conferencing, kind of like which aligns with the zoning in that area. That is one. Number two, for gatherings such as like weddings and things of that nature. So it's not going to be a high kind of like traffic business, but it's going to be something that conforms to the rural identity of Ashford. So taking that property and kind of repurposing it. There's an existing ban on that property already, and with the 3 existing properties that we think we can repurpose into a conference area as well, kind of like a gathering, but it's not going to be outside events. It's going to be mainly controlled and noise reductions to make sure that we don't become a nuisance to the community over there. But that is the main proposal. So the whole idea is, are we going to be able to get that text amendment to move forward with our proposed use of that land?
Okay. And anything else you'd like to share or go through?
No, this is just I mean, it's the lodging piece which I spoke about. As you can see over there, like it's self-explanatory. And the Events and Education Center, Recreation and Community, right? And like being aware of like the community concerns, like which is traffic. So it's going to be kind of like controlled. So it's not like a high volume kind of business that is bringing in like lots and lots of people on a daily basis, but rather a very controlled and steady stream.
So the change, and again, this is in our residential agricultural zone.
Yes.
And you're looking for changes to the text to allow for these types of uses. in the RA
Yes.
zone.
Yep. Special permit.
I'll tell you, I'll be very honest. I'm a little jaded because I'm about 4 houses down from here. So I'm being very, very honest. Which might also recuse me from any type of future vote or anything. But Janet, did you have a comment?
Well, yeah, you say that it'll be a conference center, in event space and perhaps weddings, but you're not going to have a lot of traffic. So I'm wondering what kind of volume, like if you have a conference, how many people would you envision being there?
So you're envisioning between 25 to, I would say, 45, right? But it all depends on like what is booked. and then who is coming in so from my experience, and this is the second of what we're proposing to do because we've done it when it comes to corporate events. The reason why it's low yield traffic is because people travel together. So there's a big reduction when it comes to that traffic because it's almost like somewhere where you can retreat rather than daily back and forth.
And how about for weddings?
I mean, that is based off of what the appointment is. So if let's say you're going to make specific dates available for those to be booked, and then you make sure that outside of those dates you control like nothing comes in when it comes to that, because the truth is if you want to use that space you cannot be like a constant stream of people because it takes away from the privacy and effectiveness of the space, where if you allow anybody and everyone at all to come in and do whatever they want to do, you don't really get kind of the allure that you need when it comes to using that space.
But that doesn't answer my question about like how many people would you envision for a wedding? Because often weddings.
Okay, I thought you were asking about like traffic situation, but weddings, private weddings, typically between between 30 to 50 is same, and that's why we're proposing the cabins and the over there, because it's kind of like part of the lodging situation where people come in, it's a confined space, they get what they need to get done, and then they move out.
So you plan to build cabins, or are they already there? I'm not quite sure what's already there.
No, plan to build cabins. You put a couple of cabins on there.
And then you
Yeah.
plan to build a large convention type center, or
There's already an existing structure that can be repurposed for that already on site. It's actually two structures that.
I was just going to say, just to be clear, for those of you who don't know, this is the old Mount Caritas monastery up on Seacar Road that has, it had 3 non-conforming structures within the 2-acre limit. There are currently there are a number of deed constrictions on it when it comes to what can happen in there as a residential. I believe it's 270,000 square feet, which allows for an area in and around those 3 buildings that equals 6 acres. And then there's the remaining 18 acres in and around that limitation. 2 of the buildings were housing. One of the buildings was a chapel that, as stated by Kay, was unfinished. And I think the outside is done, but the inside needs work on that.
Exactly.
Yes.
And do you operate other facilities like this, or?
So per experience, actually built a hotel from ground up, a 50 facility hotel with a spa and a conference hall from ground up. That, yes, is being operated by my company.
And where is that? Where is that?
That's in Ghana. Internationally, that's where the footprint is. But over here in Connecticut, we've been in operations for almost 17 years. So we have a couple of properties that we own, and then there are a couple that we renovate and kind of sell. We are in the real estate business.
Anything else, Janet?
No, I guess not, but thank you, Kay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark?
I believe on a previous meeting we had on that property, there was some concern by the fire department about being able to move apparatuses in with the way the current driveway and parking lot are structured. Also, I think you mentioned, Kay, that you said 25 to 40. Is that events? You're figuring 25 to 40 events?
No, 25 to 40. That was when the question was asked about like the number of people I envision, like capacity wise.
Because that would be an awfully small wedding.
Yes, it's not something that you want to host like a private events and stuff. But in to answer your question, I believe that is one that um Michael brought to our attention when it comes to the fire department's kind of like concerns. And yes, once we take a serious look at it, we're open to like kind of like opening that road up that goes up, making it like kind of like wide and kind of like maneuverable to make sure that there's enough space for that safety concern to be addressed by the fire department. So that's an investment that most likely we are going to make when it comes to looking at that property.
And how many conferences and weddings and events do you plan annually?
I cannot specifically state that. That is why, because I believe per the regulations that you have, we are not looking to do the Airbnb type, but like if I can predict, I would say that I don't know what patronage exactly is, but to conform with what like what the rural identity of the area is, we're not looking to kind of like blow it up and like make it like a regular place where people are going in and out, because it really goes against the idea of what we are trying to do. It kind of like mainly like an exclusive place where,
But it's a business, so I mean, you have to have clientele,
yes,
not on a regular basis.
absolutely, it's going to be advertised. And like my whole thing is that we're going to scrutinize and make sure that we meet kind of like the needs of the community as well with
Right,
what
but
we want.
I'm assuming if you're looking at this property from an investment standpoint, you have an idea of how many events you need to host annually to make it profitable. I mean, having 10 events a year isn't going to make it profitable. So
No, it's not. Like you're looking at least you're looking at roughly around like 5 events.
a month
Um,
or a week.
yeah, no, per month, not a week.
So every week, basically.
Yeah. No, not every. Yeah, once a week.
Five a
basically.
month is once a week.
Yeah, once a week. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other input from the commissioners? Any other questions or?
Alex, I got one.
Hi, Alex.
This sounds like this is a commercial venture in a residential neighborhood. I mean, wouldn't you need a zone change for this?
Well,
I mean, this sounds like, that's gonna change the whole neighborhood with a venture like this.
I think that he is seeking a text amendment change for that.
Yes, based on the special regulations and special permits.
Yeah, Jeff, can I jump in?
yeah, sure, Mike.
So the property's on the market. Our office has had several people, ask and inquire, and I met with Kay last week and Carolyn to talk about this and answer some questions that they had. And if you go through the regulations in the RA zone, there are adjacent uses, I guess I would say, that are already allowed. So places of worship, obviously it's existing, places of education, philanthropy, golf clubs, sporting clubs, boarding quarters, eateries on a farm, the farm wineries, existing campgrounds. There are a lot of uses that are very similar in with different components to what they're talking about, but nothing very specific that kind of speaks to what it is that they were trying to sort of convey. So my recommendation to them was, you're probably going to need a text amendment because it's not really listed anywhere, no matter what zone you look at. But before you start that process, you should explain to the commission kind of your overall intent, because text amendments, as we all know, are not property specific, and you don't want the commission to say, yeah, we think the text amendment is great, but the property is dead on arrival. This would still, if the text amendment were approved, they would then come back for a special permit, and that's where, as we've done in the past, frequency, size, fire department upgrades, issues with noise, parking, food, like all of those operational things would happen at that stage. But I felt that the regulations didn't explicitly allow exactly what they're saying, even though there are a lot of similar uses. And so my recommendation was that they would need a text amendment. So, they're hoping to get feedback from the commission as far as, their openness or not to that before they proceed.
I just say that about the property itself, one of the intent on the change in the property and the way it was zoned itself, like I said, with the limitations on the 270,000 square feet, which again equates to 6 acres, 2 acres per building, is its intent was that it was going to be sold as a family, what's the word I'm looking for? A family compound, where multiple families can live in there from a residential standpoint. For that matter, that was the reason why um, the function of a place of worship was given up, because it was allowed to be changed around like that, with its again, with its non-conforming status right now. I just, the concern is that it's a commercial activity smack dab in the middle of a residential area, and that's really, again, going back to the POCD, not what we're looking to do when it comes to planner conservation and development. We're trying to put commercial facilities in an area where commercial facilities belong, not smack dab in the middle of a residential area. And that's my last statement on it. Anything else from the commission? Or Kay, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, just what we discussed, and like Mike said, before we proceed, we just wanted to come before the commission to see if that text amendment can be granted so that we can move forward.
Well, it's dead on arrival in my book, but I'm not speak for the commission. Mark, you were saying?
No, I'm in agreement with you, Jeff. I don't think the POCD's intent was to turn residential neighborhoods into commercial properties.
Jeff, I'd just like to
Yes, Tom.
say, I also live on Seacar Road, on the dirt part. And my concern would be, even 10 cars is a problem because there's no room for 2 cars on that street. You have to pull over somewhere to let somebody come by. So that would just be my only concern.
And it is still a dirt undeveloped road, correct? Janet.
Yeah, I don't think it's an appropriate place for commercial, and I live in another part of town on a dirt road, and I know that dirt roads are hard to maintain, especially in the winter. You get all these potholes, and extra traffic on a dirt road will, I think, increase the maintenance. I think it needs to remain a RA's only zone.
Thank you, Janet. Anyone else? Okay. Kay and Caroline, is it?
Carolyn.
Carolyn, thank you. Thank you very much for the discussion. I'm sure, you'll have some talks with Mike as to any steps for moving forward or what needs to take place. Again, I open it up. Is there's anything else you'd like to share with us on this?
No, that's about it. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being so patient too. We know we had a long night ahead it before you. So, again, thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Take it. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, it has been a long evening. We do have one more item, which is the POCD update. The update is simply, hopefully, some people have read the POCD sections that we provided for review. I don't think anyone wants to get into it tonight unless anyone has something really, really earth-shattering that they want to share about the POCD sections. And if you haven't gone over it, it's fascinating reading. We're going to give you another month to take a look at it. And by that time, we'll have even more sections for you. Okay. So I'll give this a countdown of 3, 2, 1. Okay. Zoning officers report. What do you got, Mike?
Nothing that we can't talk about at the next meeting.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Hi.
Opposed? Thank you. Kayla, again, if you need any help with follow through or anything, Mike, myself, or Mark are available. And trust me, every meeting is not like this. Usually we're, somewhere in that 9 to 9:15 range. So this was just a little prolonged. So
That's all right.
I don't want you to think I lied to you or brought you down the
My
wrong
hands
road
are
on
falling off over here.
Thank you,
this lady is
Kayla.
amazing, actually, Board of Finance. She's typing. I got to tell you, she's typing as we speak. None of this writing stuff down. She's typing along with it. So again,
All right,
thank you.
sounds good.
And thank you all. Thank you for your attention. Thank you
All right.
for your efforts. And we'll
Thank
meet
you.
again. Take care.